Let's get into it because we have a lot that is coming our way. Of course, a lot of people are talking about this weekend, the big weekend winter storm system that's going to be impacting a lot of states really across the south. So today, we'll start with today. Beautiful, cold, sunny, feeling all right, preparing us for what's to come though. Later on in this week, temperatures will increase. Thursday is still going to be the warmest day out of our work week. Daytime highs nearing 60 degrees, still should be dry. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, let me just say, it looks like it's going to be a mess. And right now, models are still indicating that, yeah, we could have a wintry mix of rain, sleet, snow, but also ice. I think that's going to be the biggest problem as we're heading into our weekend forecast. So we're going to start with what we're watching for, because each day, of course, we're learning more and more as that system gets closer. You got to keep on checking in with our weather team because we do have some changes today compared to yesterday. So the timing right now, it's going to be late Saturday and into Sunday when we are going to see the biggest winter impacts. What will the impacts be? Well, we know there's going to be slick roads. Power outages may become a concern, especially if we get that freezing rain or ice. I mean, that is worst case scenario. At this point, even if you don't like snow, hopefully you're hoping for some snow, because in situations like this, you kind of want snow rather than the ice and the freezing rain. You need to just be prepared this weekend to avoid traveling, especially late Saturday and into Sunday, because that's when we're going to start to see a lot of the precipitation spread across the Carolinas. And it seems like the setup is going to bring the cold air that we need and the moisture that we need. Again, we are still a few days out, so we don't have the specific timing exactly on when we're going to see what and exactly what kind of precipitation we're going to see. But let's talk about the forecast right now. Right now, we know the temperatures are going to get really cold this weekend, and they're actually trending to be colder. As far as the moisture goes, it's trending high, and that is steady. That's been ongoing for the last couple of days. We're not seeing more moisture coming our way, and we're not seeing less. It's holding steady, that we know there's going to be moisture here. And then what type of precipitation are we going to get with this winter storm system? Likely an icy mix. We're talking about ice, freezing rain, snow, possible sleet. It is going to be quite messy. So again, here's kind of the big picture setup for us. So you can see that Arctic blast of cold air. It is going to get very cold this weekend, with temperatures dropping down around freezing. Highs are going to struggle. Lows, of course, dropping below freezing. Wind chills, feeling like we're into the single digits for some of us and even below zero. But once we have that cold air in place, look at this. So these are precipitation types. Now, this storm system will start to form right around Texas, where Texas could even see some icy glazing of ice as we're heading into this upcoming weekend. So the white, that indicates the snow. The purple right here, that indicates that ice mix. And then the green will indicate the rain. Once we're heading into Saturday night, remember our biggest impacts we think will be Saturday night and into Sunday. This is when we'll start to see some of that ice spread across Georgia as we're heading over towards Alabama, Mississippi. We're seeing those impacts there, and it's showing some white across the Carolinas, meaning at first we could get some snow, but some of our models are indicating that there could be a switch over from snow and then into ice, which honestly is not great. That just means there could be a glazing of ice right over that fresh snow, of course, making for very difficult and dangerous traveling conditions when we're heading towards the weekend. So Sunday could be some of the worst of it, because at that point we'll be all said and done with the precipitation. That purple there, remember, that's where we could see the icing, and at this point we're seeing this extend all the way from Texas, Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and it extends all the way through the Carolinas. So this is what we're looking at when it comes to precipitation. Now the ice, in my opinion as a meteorologist, is the worst setup for us, because that's oftentimes where you see the worst type of travel, but also you could see that glazing of ice on power lines. Trees could come down, and this is what we're looking at when it comes to ice. This graphic right here, the darker purple, that's indicating where we could have the heaviest icing, where we could see the largest totals of icing, and then the lighter it goes, that's where we could still see some icing, but maybe not quite as much. So yes, that does include the Charlotte metro area. Maybe you're not quite used to this ice that we could see with this winter storm system, so let's kind of break this down. 1/10 of an inch of ice, that's just a light glazing of ice. There could be some ice on trees and power power lines, slick spots here and there on roadways and even some roads. So you'll just have to be careful when it comes to being out and about, whether you're driving or even if you're just walking. But once we take it to the next level, this is going to be 1/4 of an inch. That then would be quite problematic, because when you have that much ice out there, that's starting to get pretty thick, coating windshields and cars. Then when maybe there's a whole bunch of ice on your car and you really have to warm it up a lot and actually scrape. I will need a scraper in that situation. I will say that the defroster is not going to work then. But then we're looking at just very dangerous bridges. I mean, really hard to stop where your car gets going, and it's nearly impossible to stop once you pick up some of that speed. Trees and power lines start to fall once we're looking at that much of an icing. And then finally, anything over 1/2 of an inch, I mean, this is not a good setup. This is crippling. We're talking about widespread tree and power line damage. We're talking about roads that are completely impassable, no traveling at this point. I mean, when you have this much ice out on the roads and in a city, especially a city that's not used to winter weather, that could shut down the city. I mean, this is looking like a good setup where we know it's going to be cold. We know there's going to be some precipitation. And at this point, there seems like ice is going to be problematic. Now, do we know exactly how much ice we're going to get? Of course, not at this point, but a lot of our models are showing there will be spots and possibilities of actually seeing that ice. When it comes to winter weather chances this weekend, that blue right there, which is indicating most of our viewing area, 50 to 70% chance. So our chances and our trends overall, they're continuing to increase. So the overall potential for winter weather looks more definite, especially compared to last weekend's storm system. As far as our impact window, of course, we're going to continue to narrow this down and fine tune the forecast as we're getting closer, but I know this is on a lot of people's minds. We're saying really between 7 p.m. Saturday and 7 a.m. on Sunday. That's when the precipitation is going to be moving through the area, when we'll have some of the coldest temperatures. Freezing rain is that rain that falls, it hits surfaces, and it just completely freezes on contact of everything. That's going to be a problem. Icy roads, possibly even some heavy snowfall. So 7 p.m. Saturday into 7 a.m. on Sunday will be the worst time frame. So if you had plans this weekend to travel, it is not going to be the best time to travel, and not just in and around Charlotte, but this is going to be really across much of the South. Now, are we still 100% certain with everything? No, I don't think so. I think there's still a lot more to learn as we go over the next few days, but I think it's pretty certain that this weekend is going to be messy and there will be winter weather. Still, we're figuring out where that low is going to move. Is it going to move straight over Charlotte? Is it going to head over to the east of us a bit more? And how far east could it go? Because all those things really make a difference. Again, you can see that line, the pink one, which is indicating the most ice, and really what a lot of models are agreeing with, that's where the low is likely going to track. So there's a lot of things that we're continuing to look at and follow. And that's a precipitation part. But then once we're looking at the temperatures, this is when it also gets really rough. I mean, heading into Thursday is going to be your warmest day out of your 7-day forecast. Almost 60 degrees. That's 7 degrees above where we should be for this time of year. And then once we're heading into Saturday, our high temperature is 37 degrees. Sunday's high temperature, 26 degrees. So at this point, remember, the moisture could still be moving in. That is likely going to set us up for, if it's not snow, we have ice and we have freezing rain all mixed together. Then after that, next week, still starting out very chilly. Now, those were our highs, but then look at our lows. So we're heading into a deep, deep freeze. So this could be problematic, especially if you live in an older home. You're going to want to make sure to drip your faucets. You don't want your pipes to freeze, especially when it comes to such winter weather. And also, just make sure you have the things that you need so that you don't have to actually travel Saturday, Sunday. It's hopefully only going to last a couple of days, but kind of just depending on how much ice we actually get and how long it actually takes to warm up afterwards, that could play a big factor in the forecast. So that's what we're watching for now. Right now, it's beautiful. It's cold though, 32 degrees, kind of calling this the calm before the storm. I think that seems fitting because definitely a stormy weekend ahead. For your forecast today, it's going to be cold but sunny, a high around 40 48 degrees. And then I just want to wrap this up showing you your 7-day forecast. Here it is, sunny skies through Thursday, warming trend on the way. And then unfortunately, I mean, maybe it's fortunate because it's happening during the weekend when people are mostly home, kids are home from school already. Yeah, not looking great. Friday, rainy, but remember, Saturday starts out not great, but the worst of it will be Saturday night and into Sunday when we're seeing that transition from rain to snow to possible freezing rain, and like I've mentioned through this whole forecast, the worst of it being the ice. And I think the ice continues to show model after model that that's going to be a concern across the Carolinas. So
And
ta-da!
I have a question.
Yes.
So I guess depending on how much ice or whatever we get, Monday morning could be a little problematic for folks.
Like refreezing?
Definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, well, Sunday, our high is only 26 degrees.
Yeah.
Ew.
Sunday night, people are going to sleep. The precipitation's gone. Our low's 23.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's going to melt.
Yeah.
Even on Monday, I mean, not until Monday afternoon do we reach 35. So we could see a little bit of
Okay.
melting by that point, Monday afternoon. But 35 would be our high, so it wouldn't be that much melting. So could we have school delays on Monday? If this forecast plays out how it looks like it's going to pan out, I think yes. That could be a little difficult.
Majestic. I thought you were going to come in here with some good news.
Well, the ice and the bad road conditions, not great. If we could just have like a snowy weekend, that could be fine.
Yeah.
If
At
it
this
just
point,
happens once a year, you guys, like, it's okay. But unfortunately, it
she's
doesn't.
right. We want snow, not ice.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And
yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
no,
seem
no.
like it's going to be just snow.
I guess I'm just like not down for any of it.
You
We're over
don't
it.
want
We're-
it.
You and I were very over it, but you know.
You guys were over with it before it
We're-
even
we were
started.
not.
Right.
We're over it. But yeah, I would rather have snow.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that would be best case scenario, but
Doesn't
that
look like
ice
that's
is
gonna
just
be-
the worst.
Yeah.
But we still have some time, so that
Yeah.
those projections and they could change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm
home.
sure that they will.
Okay.
Just stay home.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, stay home. Yeah.
Stay home.
I tell
Make
people that all
some
the
soup.
time.
Yeah.
You know,
I always loved
soup
like playing
activities.
out in the snow, you know, as a kid. And,
Yeah.
you know, like if you have kids, send them out to play in the snow. But the problem is if we get snow and then a glazing of ice, it's like you
Yeah.
can't even build
can't
a
even
good snowman
No.
or anything because it just gets so icy so fast.
And it's not safe.
No.
No.
Can't even play
And
outside.
also, if anyone's watching who has any outdoor animals, please,
Please bring
you
them.
got to
Oh,
come
yeah,
up
yeah,
with a
yeah.
game plan for
Yeah,
them.
you
It's
gotta
2026. Bring those pets inside.
you gotta protect our furry friends.
Yeah,
Right.
it's gonna be very cold.
Yeah.
And I mean, wind chills even on Sunday. I forgot to mention this. Sunday wind chills. It's gonna feel like we're in the single digits. So this forecast just
Oh,
kind of getting
man.
worse and worse.
Man, just the haymaker after haymaker after haymaker. Majestic Storm. No, but thank you. This is important information. Folks need to know
Yeah.
it's Tuesday, so
Yep.
we have a lot of lead time.
Yep.
So this is information. So we want you to know what's happening, what's projected to happen over the weekend. Majestic, thank you as always.
Of course, we'll do it
Um,
all over again with updates, and of course, our weather team will be here all weekend covering it, especially if the impacts are big.
Yeah, we can't tell you to stay home.
No,
Yeah.
got my sleeping bag ready to go.
Majestic, thank you.